it's me, Kelly. And today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about a recent visit to Ohana for breakfast at the Polynesian Resort at Disney World. It was in early September, and my family group consisted of myself, my husband, my brother and sister-in-law, and two little girls, my niece, who was 14 months, and my little girl, who you may hear in the background, who was 23 months at the time, so basically almost two. We booked our trip probably in like June or July, so we were way past the 180-day advanced dining reservation opening up. So when I went in fact, I went in to book dining reservations even before we had booked our room. I went in and booked everything. Ohana wasn't available. We later on ended up adding on an extra night. So I went back and was able to get us an Ohana breakfast reservation. It worked out perfectly. We'd flown in really late the night before, didn't get into our rooms till like 2 in the morning, and with two kids, we were all beat. So we went to bed and got up and had 10:55 reservations. Bus from Old Key West, which is where we stayed in a one-bedroom villa, over to Magic Kingdom, and then monorailed into the Poly. Now, I'm going to insert something here that's probably going to be a little TMI, but it just goes to show why I truly love Disney and their level of client care and customer care, and you do feel like your family, and they truly do care about you there. I have had numerous urinary tract infections, so when I start getting one, I know exactly what's about to happen. So on the monorail from Magic Kingdom over to the Poly, I said, uh-oh, it's the first day of our trip, and I'm getting a urinary tract infection. So I said, okay. Got to the shops while we were waiting on our table to get ready, which didn't take very long. In fact, by the time I got back from the shops, we were already ready to be seated. Went to all the shops, tried to find AZO and cranberry juice, and nobody had any. So I got and sat down, and they said, would you like juice, coffee, water? And I said, well, what kind of juices do you have? And they said orange juice and their traditional POG juice, which I'll talk about a little more here in a second. And I said, well, do you happen to have any cranberry juice? And she said, no, we don't serve that here, but give me just a minute. Less than 5 minutes later, another waiter comes out with a glass of cranberry juice. I don't know where they got it. I don't care where they got it. But that's the level of Disney service. Something they did not serve in their restaurant, but because I asked for it, they went and found it for me. So that's just a plug for Disney customer service, and especially at Ohana. I feel like you really get that. I've only had the breakfast so far. We will be having dinner there here in a couple weeks, so look for that review later on. But let's get into the actual meal itself. They start out, it's not a buffet, but it is an all-you-can-eat served family-style breakfast. They start you out with your choice, like I said, of coffee. They have orange juice, POG juice, and water, of course. POG juice is like a tropical, I believe there's mango, there's all kinds of fresh tropical juices in there, and it's really, really good, especially if you like that tropical flavor, which I personally do. They also bring out a bread basket for you that includes a frosted raisin bread. They also had a plain bread that had pineapple baked into it, was also really good. The next course they bring out is a huge metal bowl filled with breakfast items, which included bacon, sausage links, fried potatoes, scrambled eggs, biscuits, and Mickey waffles. All of which I thought was great. The only thing I did not eat was the sausage. I'm not a huge sausage fan, and if I do eat it, I like patties rather than the link sausage. The standout for me was definitely the bacon. It wasn't too crispy, perfect consistency, had a really, really good flavor. Everybody else enjoyed everything. My husband, who considers himself a breakfast connoisseur, said the sausage was meh and the eggs were just okay. Everybody else seemed to really like it. I didn't eat much of the eggs or any of the sausage, so you can take that for what it's worth. One thing I also like is, like I said, it's served family style and it's all you can eat, but you don't have to get a full bowl again. If you don't want, say, the sausage, you can just get bacon and waffles again, which I like because even if I'm at a restaurant and I'm like, I've already paid for it, it's all you can eat, I don't like to waste food. So being able just to get what we knew we were going to eat, I really enjoyed. The next thing I like about Ohana breakfast was the theming of the restaurant. It goes right along with the island theme of the Polynesian Resort that it's housed in. I consider this the flagship restaurant there at the Poly. They also have Kono Cafe and some quick service locations. Another really neat thing about the atmosphere at Ohana is that it's either every hour or every 30 minutes. I wasn't really paying attention to the timing, but they have a character parade. I know it has a fancy name, but I didn't catch it. But they have all the little kids in the restaurant line up behind the characters and walk through in a little parade, and they give them little maracas, and they play the opening song from Lilo and Stitch, the surfing song. It's really, really cute. So that kind of adds to the atmosphere and to the experience. And if you have a little one who's not shy and likes to do that kind of stuff, it'd be great. Another thing is you don't really find Lilo and Stitch in the parks at meet and greets that often. So if your kid's really obsessed with that movie and they really want to see that character, this is a great way to do it. You get a good meal with it, and they come to right to your table. This is one of the only sit down character meals that I found that has a photo pass photographer, but they only come around with Stitch. So with Lilo, Pluto, Mickey, whoever else is there, you do have to take your own pictures. But like I said, Lilo and Stitch are kind of hard to find in the parks sometimes. So if your kids really like this is a great way for them to be able to meet their favorite character. And their interaction is great, and they do the little parade, which is super cute. So that adds to the atmosphere and just the overall fun and family style. It is Ohana. Ohana means family, so it really played into that, and it was a lot of fun. I think about not only theming of the restaurant, but also the level of service, which our cups stayed full, which I judge a lot of whether or not how often you run out of drink. Our plate stayed full, and like I said, they went the extra mile and got me the cranberry juice that wasn't actually on the menu. Character interaction, that's another thing I really look for. I was really worried going into this. My husband and my little girl and I had done this character meal before. She loved Mickey, tolerated Pluto and Lilo, and was terrified of Stitch. So I was really apprehensive in going to this. This is our first thing to kick off the trip. My niece had never been around a character, so I didn't know how that was going to work. It went over really well. My little girl was very skittish. My niece went right up to everybody, had no problems. But yeah, Mary Allie's my little girl, and she was skittish at first, but as long as I was holding her, she was fine. She was even a little skittish of Mickey this time, but ended up warming up and giving him a kiss on the nose before it was over. And the characters did a really good job. They really played up to my niece Hayden, who was fine with them. So they hung out with her a lot, and they stood their distance and kept their distance until Mary Allie was comfortable with them, and then they approached her and picked at her and waved at her and things like that. So I rated the character interaction very high at this breakfast because they do take into account if the child is scared. They don't try to push it. They give them their space until they're ready to interact with the character. And let's talk a little bit about price. We always use the Disney dining plan when we go, so our table service credits covered this. This is not a signature restaurant, so it's considered one table service credit for breakfast and dinner. And I believe the cost, it listed online, a range for breakfast from $15 to $34.99. So I'm assuming $34.99 is the price for adult, and I guess $15 is the price for children that you hear screaming in the background. But that seems a little low for this and for a Disney breakfast, so I couldn't really find the exact pricing for that. For me, though, one dining credit, it was totally worth the money. Like I said, character interaction, delicious food, screaming babies, was all good, but most of all the service. Sometimes we don't carry that. They don't try to pull anything. If you ask for something that's not on the menu, you're just out of luck. But they went the extra mile and made sure to get me the cranberry juice that I requested. So you'll see some pictures here in just a second of the different food that we brought out. One of the breads does look like it had a bite taken out of it. Somebody got a hold of it before I could take a picture, photographer it. That's not even a word. Photograph it. That's what I'm looking for. And also, I write for wdwinfo.com. You may hear it called Disboards. They do not pay me for this video. They do pay me if I get an article published. But in all honesty, guys, I live in Mississippi. But I consider Orlando my second home. So when I want to stay the most up to date on what's going on at Disney World, what new offers are coming out, I go to wdwinfo.com. So if you're looking for unbiased opinions of other people who just have a real passion for Disney, and they truly do, you want to check out wdwinfo.com. I have also written an article version of this review, which I'll be submitting to them. And once it gets published, I'll make sure to put a link in the box below so you can go read the article that goes along with this video. This is my very first one, so it's a work in progress. Hopefully I'll get better as I go. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you some information regarding Ohana, and we'll see you real soon. Bye.
I love